Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of the Ought to Know Better podcast. We are back. Can you Adam and Eve it for a sixth season? This is pretty incredible for me. I don't think any of us thought we'd get to this point, so that's pretty nice going, I think. Not. But we're here for a new season. I am joined by Jay. How are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. You know, surviving, not quite thriving. But, you know, I'm all right.
Thanks for the positive Jay. Thanks very much. Karl, how are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better than Jay, even though I had technical difficulties. But yeah, it sounds like I'm having a way better time.
Come on, lads. We're starting our new season and we're on the cusp of the new football season. Football's coming back.
I'm happy about all this. I'm happy about
it. Things to celebrate, reasons to be cheerful. We'll get this is a work in progress intro that I've been working on. It definitely is a work in progress and not the finished article. See if you can point out who you think doesn't even vaguely resemble the person in their picture. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some quality tunage as well. I'll get in touch with whoever made that. I like that song. It's nice.
Not bad, is it? It's not bad to be fair. Yeah.
So, I think anybody that has no hair in the AI world just becomes generic man. As evidenced by the fact that Luke and I don't look anything like our characters in that scenario. But yeah, work in progress. Like I said, we'll get there. And just one other thing in terms of work in progress, I have automated much of our predictions league for this coming season. So I won't be collecting predictions from the guys on the podcast. We'll only talk about results. But the table's automated. Smarty don't have to cry about putting predictions up his ass and me not seeing them and anything like that. It's all brand new. It's all shiny, and everybody will be submitting them in exactly the same way. So I don't have to go chasing people around. So if you miss, you get knocked. So be warned.
That'll be a nightmare for me.
Jay is going to have to sort his ADHD organisational head out for this crack.
It's not happening, mate. There's not a chance.
Well, look, at least
we all know this.
I just want to point out, at least you've sorted out a guitar collection in the background, as well as you've replaced the iron with toilet paper. Ah, nice,
well,
classy,
I
Jay.
was cleaning the fretboard on the bass.
Oh yeah,
forgot it were there.
Oh yeah.
You can see the lemon oil next to it. That is for guitar use.
Ian Ward does point out that microphone stand can be reduced. You know, you can lower the
You don't tend to use it sat down, Ian. So you know
you're sitting down.
But do you get any taller when you stand up?
I got it all afternoon in the group chat, so it's only fair.
You did.
What have I come here for? Why am I here?
Oh, because you love it, Jay. Because you love it.
Fucking hate it.
Oh yeah.
Hate it.
So the usual housekeeping that we need to do. I am this evening sponsored by Cruz Campo. A tickle I enjoy, so that's nice. And I've got a reserve as well. So
I went for
the hour.
I went for Aldi's finest knockoff.
Is that the Mapelli one?
That's the one that's meant to be Moretti, yeah. And
yeah,
I have a backup just in case.
Nice. Have you got 2 beers, Jay? Have you let tied down?
I've only got the one, but it's a pint of vodka and coke. So
that'll do. Really keeping this pub podcast thing going, don't we?
Yeah, wait till it's gone and I have to run downstairs and get a frozen cocktail out of the freezer.
A daiquiri or something, is it?
And
it's a blood orange cider or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's hot in here.
Johnny Brown is telling, get that fucking iron back, Jay.
It's been bumped.
It's toilet roll now, Johnny. It's just toilet roll.
Look out for...
the crazy thing is, it wasn't even an iron. It was just a Monopoly set thing.
What are we looking out for, Jay?
The J toilet roll holder and iron set coming soon.
Sound. Nice.
Okay. So, let's make a start on the actual podcast. 5 minutes in, we'll make a start. It's not even like people are listening to adverts; they're just listening to us talk bullshit. But if you're here, you're listening to us talk bullshit anyway. So more fool you. Let's talk about preseason first. We can get into signings that we have made and haven't made, and whatever else later down the line. But let's get into preseason first. We've gone preseason unbeaten, played against the scum and a couple of decent teams. Jay, I'll come to you first. Carl bottled Dublin. How was AC Milan?
Oh, it was amazing. What a day.
Yeah?
What a day out. Yeah, it was fantastic. The whole place was just buzzing, Leeds fans everywhere. It was kind of like the parade again for just how many people seemed to be around, you know what I mean? Like everywhere you turn, there were just Leeds fans and everyone were having a good time. It were quality. Really nice city, Dublin. It's a great place to go.
They did have drummers though.
Yeah, so I don't really understand what happened there because he didn't do anything with it all the way sort of through the first half. And then I think he started rattling it just as it were about to blow for half time. And the song started, Take Your Drum, Fuck Off Home, from the entire ground. And then I don't know if they did something at half time, but I didn't see him in the second half, I don't think. So we must have traumatized him.
Good.
Hopefully. He'll never be again, that lad.
Yeah. You don't.
I was a bit worried that there were a lot of people lined up.
That came from Chef Wednesday would do the same.
I was a bit worried that there were a lot of people lined up with like vest things on that said civil defence on back. Like, what they expected. Kind of look like.
Journey home, was it?
You what? Sorry.
And a nice journey home, was it?
Well, that's when the fun really started. So, yeah, I had a 7 a.m. flight booked. Yeah, I didn't get that. My phone somehow turned itself off, even though the battery wasn't dead. So the alarm never went off. So I woke up just before 6 a.m., did a mad dash to the airport. They won't get me on the flight. They didn't give a shit. Passed me around for a bit. Let me get frustrated and freaked out. So ended up having to spend £100 to transfer onto another flight. The journey home was rail replacement buses. The first bus I got wasn't the rail replacement bus. It was something that went around the airport industrial estate and then back to the station just after the actual rail replacement bus had left. And then the second, the proper rail replacement bus, the being that was driving, who I wasn't quite sure who or what they were, and I'm going to leave that at that. Managed to get it stuck in Huddersfield Centre twice, took 2 wrong turns trying to get to the station, ended up going down the back of the big old factory warehouse thing opposite the station, and had to do a hell of a manoeuvre to get out of there with a coach. And then just as he was about to go under the bridge, so the station would be there on the right, he turned up the hill, which you can't go through at the top, and it's a U-bend, and he had to turn the bus around. And this is where this happened that I've uploaded into the brand for us. If I can,
you're not supposed to put the murder scene up on a podcast.
So he had to try and reverse it up this embankment here. Left his number plate and rear panel behind, and that's what the back of the bus looked like by the time he got to the train station. And yeah, I mean, I thought all the drama was over at that point, but I managed to lose my sunglasses as well between getting off the bus in Leeds and getting on the train. So yeah, it was a long day. It was a long day, but I had such a good time on the Saturday. I'm still not upset about it all. But it was very challenging at the time, let's say.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
And if we just touch on the game, it felt better than the other preseason friendlies for me. Probably proximity to the season and the fact that at least in the first half and so on, there were 2 sides that actually wanted to play football and get into the game. Is that how it felt while you were there?
I didn't take any of that in. Then I was reading comments.
Cheers, yeah. Thanks for listening. It's like being on my Luke already.
Man.
We're just saying, the other preseason friendlies were all a little bit. Well, they were very preseason friendly-ish. And I just wondered, for me, it felt a bit more like an actual match. Like two sides wanted to play football. They wanted to play, wanted to get into it. They both wanted to win. Is that how it felt while you were there?
Yeah, it was more like I'd say more like an exhibition. It's still a friendly, but it felt like an occasion at the same time. And with all those people there and that stadium packed out like it was, it couldn't not be. The only sort of thing I would say against it is the fact that just the nature of the beast, you're in a different ground, it's massive, you get spread out. It kind of broke up a lot of the sort of people that would have been together singing, creating atmosphere at a normal sort of Leeds game. But at the same time, everybody were having a good time. There were various songs breaking out and stuff, and there were various legends scattered about in crowd, going off at pictures I've seen, and everyone just had a good time. And it felt like a game that mattered to the players in that they wanted to sort of prove themselves out there and show that they could match up to another top side, really, you could say, because Villarreal do kind of qualify as a good side who's up there. But yeah, it looked like they wanted to go out there and sort of show what they could do. And maybe there's a bit of sort of backs against the wall as well. Maybe Farke's using the meltdowns about transfers and everybody declaring that we fucked if we don't get these players. Maybe he's using that as a positive and he's telling them to go out there and shut people up. I don't know, but it were great. Like we played our style. You could see the Farke style in it. We were able to do our thing and sort of impress our style upon them for portions of the game. They had better chances than us. It's probably to be expected, but yeah, we were very much in it with them, and it just felt like a big sort of grand day, and it was fantastic. Even if we'd have lost, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But to come out level were nice, really, because we fought for that, and I think we were worth it, even though they were probably a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I think they finished 8th in their league last season, but they are genuinely a Champions League side. So, I think you need to pinch yourself and remember, actually, we need to go toe-to-toe with these sides because that's the level that we are playing at this season. We're in the top flight ourselves and we're in the Premier League. So, we have to be able to compete. Karl, to come to you. So, I'm presuming you watched the game, but were you at Villarreal as well?
I did go to Villarreal, yeah.
So the couple of preseason games that we've had close to the season, from an overall feeling, is it giving you a sense of confidence, or are you still a little bit unsure because of the conversations we've had around the attacking that we've got available to us and so on?
I think the way it's going at the moment, the way it started was very good because we kind of went from back to front. And kind of made that a little bit more solid. So we've got we look like we need either a left back or a right back as cover. That Greek lad has come up again, I think, in conversation somewhere along the lines because he wants to leave Liverpool, I think, now, rather than just be sold.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm just not going to bother trying.
Where's the fun in that?
I know, yeah, but it's the first bloody pod. I'm not going to absolutely tie myself in knots over the name of a player just yet. So yeah, we're a little light in the fullback region. I think Schmidt kind of outlined that, where he was very much caught out of possession and out of position quite a bit when we were playing Villarreal, and I think that kind of boiled over into the Milan game a little bit. And I'm not trying to criticize him because I quite liked Schmidt last season when he came on, and he looked, good in possession, and he wanted to get forward. But I don't think fullback is his position at all. Like, I think somewhere further up the pitch is probably where he's probably best suited. But the transfer business, I like that we've gotten really strong and tall in the middle of the park, whether it be at centre back or in the middle. Bornau, even though he's probably going to be a backup to Rodon and Biol.
Well done.
He's a good. Yeah, I actually heard Tony Dorigo today on the Square Ball pod. One of the lads went Bijol, and he went, "No, it's Biol." I was like, "Sound, I use that tonight." So I'm liking where we're going in regards to the kind of structure of the team from back to midfield. But at the moment, I'm I'm kind of concerned that we're a little light up front. I know Numacha has looked all right in spells, but he's just a younger Bamford, really, isn't he? Like he does the same job, but we don't know if he can score the goals now. Pirro, I'm sticking by that the thing I said towards the end of last season, that I think the Premier League will suit Pirro a lot more than the Championship, and I get why people are worried. Like, we've got Pirro and we've got Numacha. We definitely need another striker, in my opinion, but I think Pirro has got a better understanding of how to play against defenders in the Premier League. Like, you can kind of not to compare, but brought up in the same surroundings as Dennis Bergkamp at Ajax, that style of football, and we saw. I'm not comparing them. I'm saying like they've both been brought up on the same way of playing football, and Bergkamp absolutely lit up the Premier League with his skill when he came in.
Total football.
Pardon?
Total football.
Yeah. And I'm not saying Pirlo's going to do the same, but I think if he's implementing the same kind of things that he's learned as a kid growing up, then I think he's got the style of play that will actually suit the Premier League a little bit better than the rough and tumble of the Championship. Less games as well. I think with less games, it gives Park more time on the training pitch. We're not traveling as much. You know, there's a lot of variables that could go in our favour this season. And I think Pirlo is probably going to be one of those where people are pleasantly surprised without kind of, thinking, he was going to be shit. But I think, yeah, I agree with Smarty. I think we watched Pirlo
I
fly.
don't agree with you. He completely says completely different, doesn't he? Because quite famously, Bergkamp didn't fly anywhere.
Well, why is he giving the fucking I know what you mean, Smarty. Don't worry about it, man.
I knew what he meant. Just because you didn't get my joke. Jay got it. That's why his head went in his hands.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if we bring in, like, it's looking like every winger and striker we go after is going to be snapped up by someone who's just a little better than us and can offer some form of European football, perhaps, or is more established. But we're looking at that lad from Roma now at the moment, and he seems to be a good prospect. That I think it's like 23, 24, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'm sure you will. But if we can get him in, and there's talk of maybe Solomon coming back in because we're really struggling now, and especially with Spurs bringing in two wide men, well, potentially two wide men if they get Wisa in as well, is it, from Brentford. There's talk of him going there. So that's two wide men they brought in, and that'll basically make Solomon obsolete, and he'll probably request a transfer at that point, like, because he knows he'll not get a look in. But I think we're maybe 3 players short of giving it a good go, and actually looking like we can do something, perhaps.
Yeah, and just to touch on the fullback thing, I think some really, really good news this week is that we do expect Bogle to be available at or very near the start of the season. There were some rumours that he were going to be out until Christmas, which would have been a nightmare because I think Farke really needs his fullbacks to be mobile, get up and get down, but to add a lot to the attacking. That's
get up and get down.
we saw last season with kind of playing as almost 2 4s in that double pivot in midfield. That allowed the fullbacks to give the width. And I think if you don't have that in Farke's setup, if you don't have, I get what you're saying about Schmidt. He looked all right at points last season. I actually didn't think he was that bad against Villarreal because he would just have to get forward. He didn't look great in defence. I thought he had a touch of the Tyler Roberts about him in that he was just trying to prove himself that bit too much. And actually, if he tried settling into the game, he might have done a bit better. The quality wasn't there, but I thought the effort was. But
I wasn't knocking his effort.
But he's trying to get himself a move, isn't he? Because I think the writing's on the wall. Because if you can't get in the Championship side, you're not exactly going to set the world alight in the Premier League after promotion, are you? So I think there's an element of truism about what you're saying about needing cover at fullback because I don't think Schmidt's it. But hopefully we'll get Bogle back sooner rather than later because I think he's a big player for Farke.
Yeah, well, there's talk of Bogle potentially being back from Monday, so I think he's back in training, just on his thought at the moment, but there's not a lot that he'll need to kind of get up to speed with when it comes to tactics and stuff like that. He's played under Fark for a year already. He's had a full preseason bar 2 games, you know what I mean? Chances are it's not that bad. And like we were saying in the group, fans losing their absolute shit online, and it's like, just stop listening to fans and you know, in relation to injuries and stuff like that, and your life would be a whole lot better. Like,
stop listening to us
as well.
no, well, we haven't said anything. I'm just saying, like, there was an absolute meltdown online when it came out that he was injured, and it was like, will you fucking relax?
And then everyone's like
Chill
kicking
out.
off us. Now we need a fullback as well. We still haven't got the other players that we need.
Yeah.
And nothing's happening.
I'm not a happy clapper by any means, but fucking chill out. Like,
I know.
Like
I knew nothing.
Like, I was more worried, right, about not having a defense in midfield that could actually keep us in games, rather than our attacking players at the moment. Like, look, we know Willie can do it. He just needs to up his game a bit. We know he can do it. We know, well, I know, and a few others know, that Pirro is probably going to do it because of the style of play in the Premier League. And look, we've got Ramazani. He's got a point to prove, and anytime he's come on, he's looked very lively. He's looked like he wants to get into positions where he can either affect the final ball or be on the final ball, you know. And add another winger to that. You've got Dan James as well. Didn't even mention Dan
I was just
James.
about to say, Gail will be downstairs spitting feathers, giving you the Italian. No, it's just, don't forget Dan James.
Yeah,
I think Dan James will be an important player for us this season. I think, you know, he's proved that he's got the ability. Yes, he is fast, but I don't think it's just out and out pace. He's got the ability as well. So I think you are right. I think, you know, we are in a position where Joseph's gone. Bamford's been told he's not in plans. So we are Joseph or Bamford.
Bit of both. Mostly Joseph.
It's not Bamford's fault.
I actually feel sorry for Bamford.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if he'd have been able to stay fit over the course of the last 2 or 3 seasons, he'd still be playing regularly for us. But you just can't rely on his fitness. You just can't.
No.
So the fact that we got Nemecha that looks like he's mobile, you know, it looks like he's going to be a handful. It's a real shame from the Villarreal game when he went through really early on. It's a real shame he didn't slot that away, because that could have just set him up on that platform, and you know, it would a good chance, but maybe that just came a little bit too early in the game for him. But it looks like he'll be a handful. He looks like he'll be a player that defenders don't relish playing against, because he's not going to give them much quarter, is he? No. But I think it is true. You know, you look at Joseph gone, Bamford being told he's not part of plans. It's unlikely he's going to turn that round, because it's not like Farker doesn't know him. So it's not likely that'll happen and he'll turn that around. So for me, I think we still need 2 proper quality, capable of starting attackers, one to play a little deeper and one to play at 9. Now, that might sound mad with you saying that Pirro's going to play well this season, and I think that he will. But for great stretches of last season, we were playing with 1 forward. And if Pirro had been unavailable for any length of time last season, we wouldn't have finished top. You know, we were very close to the end. Yeah, so you know, we definitely can't do that in the Premier League, and it would be criminal to do so if you could consider the riches that we've got available to us in that league. But so I think, Jay, I'm going to come to you on this because I already know your mind on it. But I'm going to allow you to voice this. When it comes down to people losing the shit aside, but when it comes down to the timings around the transfer window and the start of the season, just give us your thoughts on, you know, do we need to be hitting straps right at the start, or can we just chillax a little bit, because actually there's still some transfer window left to bring players in?
No, there's no relaxing for me, because as soon as points are there to be won, they're also there to be lost. So, no, for me, you should have everybody in before your first game. Obviously, that's in an ideal world, and life really works out that way. But that's what I would want. I'm not like, you know, it's fine as long as we get them in by end of window. If we've dropped points that we might have won with a different sort of side out there, a couple more players in there to do something else, you know, then I'm going to be very unhappy at not having had them at the start. Look at how the start of the previous season before we went up, how that affected us that year, because we lost games against, or drew games against teams that we should have been beating, and we just didn't really hit our stride initially, and it cost us at the end ultimately. And I don't want to see that happen again.
And there's no getting away from it. It's going to be a difficult season. The last the last 6 teams promoted have all been relegated immediately. There's no guarantees here at all. So, Karl, I'll come to you then. So, just in terms of the playing squad, then you mentioned there just the defence and the midfield. So now that we've got in players like Longstaff and Stash, and we've got Bjorlin and Bernau, and Goodmanson as well, I think has started well. From what I've seen, albeit only friendlies, but from what I've seen, it looks a handy player as well. Is that defence and midfield and keeper as well with Perry coming in? Are you feeling more settled about at least that back 9? I guess it would be.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I guess it's about finding the right combinations for each game, depending on the opposition. I think, pardon me. I think we've got a lot of players that can play different roles against different types of teams. So if we're going away to Arsenal, you'd probably play someone that are a bit more defensive. I'd probably put maybe Stack and Ampadu sitting in front of the back 4 and let Tanaka kind of go in ahead of them, because Tanaka's a ball winner. He's well able to control a little bit of play when he gets on the ball and stuff like that. So I'm quite if it's a case that what are you showing off there? Oh, your lemon, is it?
Jammy's asking if it's a Jammy Dodger, but it is a Stone Roses lemon.
Yeah. And I think at the back we're fairly sound as well. I think obviously we're missing bleeding Beal for his debut against bloody Everton. So
it's not the be all and end all.
Oh, you beat me too. Why the fuck did you just let me finish, knobhead?
I didn't know you were going to say that.
I was actually building up to that. Anyway, you've just deflated me there. Yeah, I'm happy, Gilly.
Nice to meet you, tell him. Actually, let's just pick up on the players that we have signed. So I just want to. So, Jay, were you at the Villarreal game? You were, weren't you? Because you were up in the gods.
That's right.
And did you see did you watch back any of the German games that we weren't allowed to even watch live from a different country? Did you watch any of them back?
I think I just watched the goals, to be honest with you, because the results got spoiled for me both times.
So
I was a bit pissed off about that.
So that's fair. So I think we've all seen the same amount of football then, which makes it a bit more fair. So what I want you to do is I'm going to go down the list of signings that we've made, and I want you to give me a rating as to what you think so far. Not what they're going to do over the course of the season, just what you think they've shown and how you rate them against the football that you've seen so far. So, Karl, I'll come to you first. So, Stack.
He's only played 3 games, hasn't he? I think maybe 2, Villarreal and AC. Both games, very capable player. Out of 10 at the moment, maybe 7.5 at the moment. Plenty of room for improvement there as well, because we can see that he's got it in him.
Okay. Jay, what you say?
I'll give him an 8 because he has only played 2 games, but he's done well in those 2 games. He's not sort of put a foot wrong or been talked about in a negative manner. He's been mostly celebrated, and he scored a banger of a goal. So
he did. I mean, the keeper will be disappointed watching it back, but then
it was great to see.
Playing against AC Milan, we're used to seeing that from their keepers.
I think I went, fucking hell.
You didn't say shit. That was Dida. Okay, so I would have said 8 as well. So on average, we'll go with 8 on that one. And so I'm going to make a note of these just for a bit of fun and just see what we think at some point during the course of the season.
Liam and Paul saying 8 as well. It's a consensus.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, good consensus. So, Jay, I'll come to you first on this one. And be all.
I'm going to give him a 7. I don't know if that's a little generous. No, I'll give him a 7 because he's been solid. He's just not been spectacular, but he's done everything that you'd want your centre back to do without being spectacular, if that makes sense. So I'll give him a 7.
Okay. Fair. Karl?
I'd probably say the same as Jay, a 7. Yeah. I think because he's not playing against Everton, he hasn't got as much game time in the last 2 games, and
Which
I think these two.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think these 2 games were probably the most vital games for him and Rodon to build a partnership, because they were going to be our 2 toughest opposition. Like we saw how well they played against Man United, and they were, a good opposition. Like, so I think it was
a way to pronounce gum, is that, Karl?
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know. I've got a lisp.
At least you gave it the 2 words and not the 1. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that was kind of a ball drop there by Farke, regardless of Everton, because I think Rodon and Strike know each other well enough now to be able to play in the back 4 together.
Yeah, but equally, Strike's probably going to end up playing, and he needed some minutes in his legs as well. So it's not just about setting them up, is it?
Well,
so
Strike's got to play with the other guys that are in the team as well. It's not just about Rodon. There's so much more going on than the centre back partnership. They need to learn that he's going to get turned and left for dead, and that they need to cover him.
But for Biol, I'd give him a 6. I think I would hope you read about players and you think, right, okay, well, it could work that way, it could work that way. And I'm thinking, well, Strike's dead slow, so Biol being dead slow, Rodon's used to. But I was hoping he was going to be a little bit faster than Strike. And actually, I think he might even be a little bit slower. I think the positive aspect is he can clearly read the game a lot better than Strike can. You can see that straight away. And he's also vocal, which is something that Strike's not. So I think that's those are in his favour. But from what we've seen so far, I'd give him a 6. But if you're both going 7, then that's the average. So we can stick with that. Karl, Perry.
Didn't see enough of him. I think he worried me with a couple of his balls to feet. Not to the extent of potentially Meslier, but he did get blocked. But again, it was the first 20 minutes he'd actually played with the team, and he was out injured for a period when he first arrived. So I think he'll be all right. I'd give him a 5 just because he literally played a half of football. And, he did throw the ball really far, though, like a kettle over a pub.
And he caught a pub.
And he caught it, and he looks quite intimidating. He's a well-built fella. Like, so there'll be a lot of strikers that'll be thinking twice about going up against him, as opposed to Mez, perhaps. And that's what you need to keep Psycho in goal.
And there was a very obvious change when Darlow came in, and then that one that he just put onto crossbar.
Yeah. Yeah. So
any advance on 5J?
I was going to say 6. I'm a little bit borderline.
Well, fuck you then. I was going to say 5, and that's the average.
Let's go with 5. He's going to he's going to do some amazing things this season, is Perry. But he's also going to do some fucking stupid things. He's definitely got that crazy keeper thing. Like keepers and drummers.
Life, innit?
Keepers and drummers, they're all fucking mad.
Yeah.
You have to be to do those roles.
Agreed.
Plenty of both.
Okay, Jay, Longstaff.
6. It's not really set the world alight for me. Sideways Sean, as I call him.
Okay. Karl, 6, did you say? Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
Any advance on that, Karl?
I would say 6 as well. Like Jay said, he's a bit sideways, but at the same time, we've seen what he can do for Newcastle when he decides to bomb forward. He gets himself in good final position. So I think he's definitely going to add a lot to the team. So at the moment, 6. He just needs game time, I think, in a new system and a new club.
Fair. Thank you very much. Goodmanson, Karl.
I'm going to give him an 8. I think his positional awareness has been fantastic throughout all the friendlies. And granted, we only saw highlights of the German ones. But against Scum, fix that lisp. So I think against Scum, he came out of the blocks, and I think he was very good. Again, against Villarreal, him and Willie seem to be developing quite the good partnership there. Understanding who's overlapping when and who can sit, and there was
Did he let Willie inside?
Did he what?
Let Willie come inside?
I'm not quite sure, Jay. You'll have to ask him. So
Let's
yeah, I
stick
think
on the pitch.
Yeah. So I think an 8 for me for Goodmanson. I think he's going to be vital. I think he'll get forward when he needs to, and I think the fact that again he's one of those players that probably reads the game a little better than Firpo. But I think we'll get potentially the same output from him. You know.
I mean, it's going to be tough, isn't it? Because although Firpo was not highly rated off the back of his Premier League season, he kind of became that cult hero. Firpo scores were on the pitch, but he were getting forward. He were playing that false 3 role that Debs talks about, with him getting in at the 10 and playing up front in the 9, and got lots of assists. You know, when he got into the position, he tended to pick out a player in the middle and do it quite well. Karl, any advance on that then? Jay, sorry, any advance on that?
Gonna say, no, I agree with everything Karl said. Really, I'd go for an 8, and yeah, he's been a bit of a standout for me in the preseason games. He's just looked really, really good. He moves around fantastic. He's up and down that wing. He can cross a ball in when he gets a chance, and he looks to do so. He's a pretty positive player, and he doesn't look like he's getting caught out much, even though he does get forward a lot. He's got a good engine. And he's getting a good understanding down the left there with Willie.
And for a fullback that gets forward, for Karl to not call him a ball watcher, that must be a decent start as well. And another thing in his favour is he's definitely not Rasmus Christensen, so that's a big positive.
The other thing as well is,
go on.
Sorry, we've always kind of throughout the years struggled with the left back, and I think we've actually got one now where we can actually go, oh, right, it's not Lauren de Bock. You know, it's someone very capable. It's a Swedish international, and it's a nice change to feel comfortable having another left back like Firpo. 2 years, absolutely solid. You know what I mean? He was good in Fark system, but you just get that defensive security, I feel, of Goodmanson that you won't get off Firpo in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I do feel a little bit for Firpo from his time in the Premier League, because under Bielsa they were asked to do specific roles, and he were told to track his man, so that's why he ended up on right wing, and all of the goals just came from that massive gaping chasm that he'd left. But if that's what he'd been asked to do, that's what he'd been asked to do. I just remember that Spurs game with Harry Kane and his son just tearing us to bits. But they're both off now, so that's fun. So, I mean, Bryn makes a point here, and we mentioned him earlier in the podcast for his pronunciation rather than his playing. But he said, based on pre-season, first complete left back we've had for 25 years. I think it's longer than that. Longer than that since we've had an actual left back. Because Ian Hart, for me, was in the team because he was good on free kicks. You know, he was all right, but he was very, very slow. Somebody's
not allowed to slag Ian Hart off as a fan.
Having a go. And some of that is tainted by the fact that he's an agent now, and all agents are pricks. But you know, so there is that. But yeah, it's the Rigo for me since that, and you know, so it's longer ago than that, isn't it? So yeah, so it has been a long time since we've had somebody that we can rely on there. So let's hope that he has a good season, because he's set himself up for it, I think. Jay, I want to know
fullbacks are going to be really important as well. Sorry.
It's all right. I want to know about Bo now. What have you seen of him?
Fuck all.
Yeah, me too.
Has he played, or did he arrive injured?
Did he play against
that first game?
I can't remember. There's a lot happened.
So on that basis, he's getting a 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
Default score.
not memorable enough to give any higher than a 5, really. Like, and that's not to knock him. I'm sure. Like, he
says
may.
He played, so he played.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he played well against Scum, but I think it's one of those where he'll probably give us an old shock and be an absolute world beater. So
I hope he does.
Good. Yeah,
you never
fingers
know.
crossed.
Hope he
Okay,
does.
Carl, I'll come to you on this one first. Nemecha.
Yeah, I like that he's not afraid to put himself about. I think he's a good target man with his back to goal. He didn't make life easy for the Scum centre backs, and I think he'll definitely chip in with about, I'd say, 9 or 10 goals anyway.
I think that'd be a successful season for him, wouldn't it? Getting to that level, that'd be good.
I think so, yeah, and I think there'll be enough opportunities created for him and Pirro potentially to hit double figures. So, yeah, I liked what I saw, so I'm going to go with like a 7.5 maybe on that one.
Okay, thank you. And Jay, any advance on that? 7.5.
I'd give him a solid 7. I think he's looked fairly decent. He's looked mobile. He's quite big and strong. He's a nuisance. He's going to do that job for us that people used to want Bamford to come on and do. And yeah, he's just a useful squad player to have in there. Someone who's got some top flight experience. I think he counts on the homegrown as well.
Yeah, he was at City Academy.
And I don't see him getting sort of 10 goals. I see him probably 7 or 8, maybe, because I don't think he'll play loads unless we don't get another striker. But yeah, I think he's going to be a useful member of squad, and he looks reliable and causes problems.
Okay, fair. I did give him a 6.5. So that balances us out nicely at 7. So We'll take that. And Jay, the last new signing, or like a new signing from
don't you dare
from this position we're in right now, Jack Harrison. Give me a score.
So, solely on the basis that he tried his very best and went and applauded the fans after getting booed relentlessly for the entire game, I'm going to give him a 6, because he's come back and he's got on with it. He hasn't looked particularly good, but it takes some balls to do that. So
Liam B's in the comment giving him a score. Liam B's giving him a 2.
You forgot to put foot after that, Liam.
Whether there's any redemption in him there, or whether he stays with us after the window closes, I don't know. I don't want him personally. I'd like him to leave, but yeah, fair play to him for at least making the effort.
Okay. Just on that, did you expect any less? Is that what you expected from him? Effort. Maybe not quality, but effort.
I wasn't sure, to be honest. I thought maybe he just wouldn't give a toss and he'd just turn up and just be a shadow of his former self going through the motions, because probably hoping to get a move, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, who knows? Okay. I don't know what I expected, really.
Okay, fair. Carl, comments?
He knew what he was going to get when he came back on. It's the first time he's played in front of a significant number of us, really. He didn't play against Villarreal. So
not even in the squad, was he? That was, I thought that was telling.
I thought it was, because I think Fark has probably played that very well. Now, he said afterwards that Jack was going to get booed, and Jack knew he was going to get booed, and all he had to do was take it on the chin, and he did. I think I've not heard anything of him wanting to leave. It's all been, again, paper talk. So yeah. I don't know how committed he is, but he's still going to be in the Premier League. So getting a move away to a team that we're probably going to be scrapping against probably isn't his best move.
I think he'd have to go abroad, wouldn't he? If you were gonna go for a move, he'd have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and we also can't overlook the fact that now that he's back in the Premier League, his wages go back up to what they were before he was relegated.
Yep. Absolutely.
So there's a lot of different elements.
Maybe even higher than that.
Maybe even higher than that.
Probably a 5% per season increase on that.
Well, he'll need his cost of living increase.
No, Orta.
Gas and electric's gone up.
But Yeah, look, I give him about a 5.5, 6, just because he grew some balls, and like Jay said, he walked around and clapped the fans, even though he knew he was going to get booed, and you've got to give him kudos for that. I don't like the son of a bitch, but if he comes in and does what he needs to do, if he's called upon and doesn't half arse it, then fuck it.
So I
They
think
should,
go on, Jay.
sorry, Gilly.
Before I have
one
no,
quick
it's all
thing.
right. Go on.
They should to sort of do like a PR thing, like they could do like a charity thing where they get his mum, like in a big pot of water, and you get to throw balls at a target, and if you hit it, she goes in. And they could do that in fan zone, and everyone would love it. Damage would be repaired.
Yeah.
People would be happy. We'd move on.
So I was going to touch on his mum. No, that sounds wrong. I was going to talk about his mum.
Listen downstairs, Gilly.
Careful.
Just if she just kept her mouth shut, most people would feel a bit differently about him. I think. Is that fair?
Yeah, we'd just think he's a bit of a tosser.
He'd be Brendan Aronson 2.0, wouldn't he?
Because for me, if you look at, I think we'd probably, I think it would be fair to think of him a little better than that, because for 3 seasons in a row, we said we were going to sign him and then we didn't. We kept him on loan because we had priorities that we were going to spend on instead. So we just kept him on loan. We signed him. And then after, a season and a half, Rads tried to ship him off to Leicester. Because, by the way, we'd had him like 4.5 seasons. Tried to ship him off to Leicester. 49ers had to get involved and go, hang on a minute, you're not doing that. And then pulled him back, even though he'd been told that he would either not in the plans or they wanted to sell him or whatever, because he was at Leicester, wasn't he? And they pulled him back and said, no, you're not going. So for 3 seasons in a row, we didn't sign him when we said we were going to. We tried shipping him off. We then said, actually, we're not shipping you off. You're going to have to come back. And I don't think you saw much of a drop. Maybe you saw a drop in output in terms of quality, but I don't think you saw a drop in effort. So I didn't really expect him to not come back in and try hard. I think you know what you get. Now, the player that he was under Bielsa, he's had a significant amount of time under Luke 2.0. Fucking wingers, I hate fucking wingers, in charge at Everton. So he's not going to have benefited. His football is not going to have improved. And let's be honest, other than very few very noticeable games, West Ham sticks out. His output wasn't good enough. No. It was a case of, he'd either be a 10 or he'd be a 5.5, 6. And just having a good touch and working hard just ain't good enough. It's like Harrington with a good touch. So, the level of output that we were getting from him just isn't good enough. And I think he's carried that on. It's all right to say he's been playing in the Premier League. Yeah, fine. He has done. And as a squad player, yeah, it'll probably be all right. And I don't expect to see him go, because I don't think anybody's going to pick up his wages, and I don't think anybody's going to pay the money for him that's left that'll make the contract value make sense. So he'd almost have to go on loan, and then we'll have to sign somebody else. I can't see anybody making a case for a deal that works for our board. So I expect to see him around, and I've been saying since last season I expected to see him around. I don't think that he's of good enough quality for us to start him every week, but I expect to see him on the bench more often than not.
Do you think going back to the fact that we need fullbacks, do you think would Fark have him in mind as cover?
Maybe.
At wing back.
Maybe. I'm not sure he wants to play there.
It doesn't fucking matter if he wants to play there or not. If you're told to play there,
I don't think he's a player like that, though, is he? He's not. He's not somebody. If you look at Cine, Willie, maybe Ramazani. I mean, Raf aside, because Marsh did play him at wing back and put him on long throws. But I don't think Harrison's the sort of person that would go, no, fuck yeah, I'm not playing at wing back. I think he'd do the job for the team, to be honest. So. I think he's that sort of mentality. I think, for my mind, the quality is not good enough, but the mentality is right. And I think that we would all feel quite a bit differently about him if his mum had just shut up.
Well, yeah. But, what's done is done. He needs to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, and it just won't. So I think we need to live with that, unless they can find a deal with one of the clubs that involved in. Rangers won't happen, as somebody just pointed out.
Said they've signed a load of wingers. Why do we though get saddled with players that nobody else wants?
Because we don't replace them.
Really.
Bamford.
Well, Bamford is one.
Aronson.
Bamford has had a massive amount of stick for a long, long time now. And the only reason he's got any stick is because we never replaced him when we should have. It's the only reason he gets stick. It's not effort. I feel sorry for the guy because of his injury record. He don't get injured on purpose. And when he is available and when he's brought on, he works hard. He's just not good enough. And his ability to actually play is hampered by the injuries he has. He should have been replaced in our second Premier League season. Now, that's difficult coming off the back of the 2 seasons of 16 and 17 goals and shooting us to 9th in the Premier League. But that's the point at which you go, do you know what? We've got to build on this. And we just didn't.
Again, we can't blame Bamford for that. But at the same time, Radrizzani didn't fucking do anything.
Give Rad shit for it. Pocket, but we can't. You can't. I think if it was a level of effort that was missing, you could have a go at the player. But I never saw that from Harrison or Bamford.
Yeah, the thing was as well, we got very unlucky there because if we did sell Bamford, they wouldn't have had the money to replace him anyway.
They should have done. Second Premier League season, they should have done.
But they want to spend money, did they? They didn't even back Bielsa in that season. So why would they have even thought about getting rid of Bamford if
sign some players or get a different manager?
That would have been mad, right? We'd have brought Joseph in essentially that season to play up front. If we'd have got rid of Bamford, that's how that had gone. Because they wouldn't have brought in a recognised striker because they were never going to back Bielsa.
J. Roy Grott.
Yeah, or J. Roy Grott. Yeah, they'd bring him back because he's clearly still under contract, or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Okay. So those are the signings that we've made this season. Obviously, Harrison was a little bit of a wild card that I just threw in there just to see if we got some entertainment out of it. And we spoke about him more than anybody else. So obviously that worked and paid off. So what I'm now going to do from the bottom up, I'm going to read out the bottom half, give or take, of the Premier League last season. And we'll talk about the teams that we're able to target. Obviously, Burnley, Sunderland promoted with us, but the teams that we need to target there because, as I said before, 6 teams promoted last 2 seasons, 6 teams relegated last 2 seasons. So, Saints relegated, Isbich relegated, Leicester relegated. Then you've got Spurs, Wolves, Scum, West Ham, Everton, Palace, Fulham, Brentford. Now, I'm going to start with Brentford. Because not only have they fucking imploded on a player basis, but then they've brought in Keith to be their manager. And that is just...
talking about Keith like that.
it's just incredible to me. I mean, do you remember the square ball had the God Rod? And Saints brought him in, and you're thinking, what the fuck? He was shit at Stoke. Saints brought him in, and you thought, well, he's going to be sacked within 2-3 months. And he was. He absolutely was. Because he'd never, ever had any capability to manage a side. So Brentford, for me, I'm thanking the gods. Brilliant. Keep doing that shit. Sell all your players. Get rid of them all. Bring in a shit manager. Fantastic. That's it. Bring them in. So they actually finished above Fulham, Palace, Everton, West Ham, Scum, Wolves, Spurs. Leicester is bitch and Saints. They were firmly mid-table last season. I firmly expect them to be bottom 3 next season. Purely on principle, not just the players, but the manager that they brought in. So unless they sack him early on, I think they're in the mix with us. Who else are we aiming at? Carl, I'll come to you first. Just one of those clubs.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I think
go on.
I'll go with West Ham. I think the Potter experiment has come to a close, and we could be seeing. Like people are saying, the Fark is going to be the first one that's going to get sacked all season. I think Potter's closer to getting the sack than Fark is. I watched a bit of their preseason when they were in America, and they don't look any great shapes. Now, I could be sitting here eating my words by the end of the season, but I genuinely don't think they're in any great shape. They haven't signed many. They're looking to offload a couple of the more experienced midfield players in Suchek and Kufal. They're both gone. Like they're only what 30, 31, the pair of them. I know that would have been over the hill for me a couple of years ago, but going based off the fact that we're in the Premier
shot them
League.
by now.
Oh, they'd be fucking glue. But based off the fact that we're in the Premier League, they're the type of players that teams need, and they're letting them go, but they haven't replaced them. And I don't think they're letting Antonio go as well. And when we're talking about strikers for us, I'd have taken Antonio as backup over bleeding Callum Wilson the way people were going.
He's 35 and he broke his leg in 4 places. Is he going to be anything like the player
he was in that car crash, and wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well then, yeah, don't listen to me. I talk shite.
Now, don't get me wrong. He's back playing, but he's not going to be the force that he was.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
It's actually remarkable that he's able to put on boots again. And I think he is it Jamaica he plays for?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty wonderful that he's able to get back out on a football pitch after what happened to him. But leading the line in a Premier League season at 35 as well, that'd take some doing.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But how old is Callum Wilson? He's not much off it either, but he's got a worse injury record. I'd even put Antonio down as having a better injury record, even after the car crash, than Callum Wilson.
But if you put your all in a guy like that and you make plans around him and then he gets injured in first few weeks and that's it, at his age with his record, it could be the end.
Yeah.
And then you're screwed.
Yeah, well,
it's just too big a risk for me.
No, I get you. Yeah, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that like West Ham are foobar, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But I if he wasn't in that car crash, I'd have probably taken him over Callum Wilson. That kind of way.
Oh yeah. I mean, he'd had a couple of seasons where he were off the boil, but he'd had a long period where he'd played well at a high level, and they relied on him a lot. So yes, if he was 29, 30 and he was coming off the back of a crash like that, you're thinking, yeah, he's got time to be able to get back up to speed. But at 35, as a striker, that's a lot to ask of a body for that to come back from where they were.
Okay, Richard Keogh.
Yeah, well, I didn't know he was that old, to be fair. I thought he was only in his early 30s, like, so...
Yeah, no, he's 35.
35. Jesus, that's...
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, yeah.
There's some doing just to get back on a football pitch, like I said.
It is, yeah.
I'm not knocking him at all for the effort he's put into to even get back on a pitch.
Well, God love him. Like, he was in an actual car crash and recovered, and poor old Stuart Dallas had a tackle, which looked like he was in a car crash and couldn't recover. So I guess...
And if anybody was, it would be Stewie D.
Yeah, that's
the thing.
Like, so it's a bit of a
no, that's fair. So, Carl's gone West Ham. Jay, out of that, do you want that list again?
No, it's all right. I'm sort of torn between picking Wolves or Everton. Oh, what's left really? Everton seem to be one of those teams that sort of circle the plug hole and somehow claw the way out, and Wolves just seem to be there. And I can't decide which one I'd target, to be fair, but either of them would do. Fuck it, I'll pick both. They're both shit. We're better than both of them. We're a better club to have in Premier League than they are. Fuck them, get rid of them. Target them, get rid of them. It's not talk about stuff like this proper, though, when you don't know what your team's actually
it absolutely is. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it really is. But we can only go on what we've seen and what our gut is at this point in time. I definitely won't come back and make you eat your words if you get it totally wrong.
No, because
you put us on the spot here and made us pick different sides. I had nowhere else to go.
I've just realised Gilly's dirty trick there. We're going to make some fucking great content at the end of the season, Jay. Fantastic.
I can well believe it, mate. I can well believe it.
I just want to point out something here. Danny Talks makes a good point. How are you, Danny? Glad to see you again. Love you back, man. Moisey will keep Everton safe. I think the only thing Everton have going for them is David Moyes, because for me, he's Mr. Everton more than
the chosen one.
Joe Royle when he was in charge, and Joe Royle.
I think really she'll have a good season for him as well.
This is the thing, like, so I think I'm not saying they won't be thereabouts. I do think we'll be battling with them. But it's just that Moyes effect, man. He came in last season when Dyche got booted out, and let's be honest, he turned them around. They were hovering, like the sphincter was tight down in Everton. You know what I mean? And it's like Moyes came in, steadied the ship, and they seem to be all right. But again, I don't know if they'd have been any higher than where they finished last season, even with Moyes for a full season. So that's why I think that they'll be in trouble. They've got a new stadium as well that they need to try and make that a fortress, and it's a difficult thing. We saw what happened to Arsenal the first few, maybe even 2 seasons when they were at the Emirates the first time. They struggled for results in a couple of games throughout the season where they should have easily dominated and beaten teams. But it's a big thing now having moved from Goodison. They don't have that home feeling as such. It's like they're going to be playing away every game up until Christmas because it's not going to feel like home games,
That's true. It could really go the wrong way for them.
It could. I were really hopeful that this season would be them having the best stadium in the Championship. Unfortunately, I think that I think you're right about Moyes. I think it's unlikely that we're going to see them at bottom 3. They'll be mid-lower table for me. Round 13th, 14th maybe, which is about where they got to last season. And I think Grealish is a big signing. If they can get him on his game, then he's a big signing for them. I think that that's one that remains to be seen. I'd already called out Brentford. I think Brentford have sealed their own fate. I think they're nailed. If they stick by Keith Andrews beyond Christmas, I think the season will be done. So it remains to be seen. But it's also you're in a position then when who are they going to bring in? If they've lost all the big players and they've had a poor start to the season, who are they going to get? So it's a baffling one for me. But I had already mentioned them. I think Burnley are another one that, I don't see them playing good football. Parker he had a torrid time at Bournemouth. Well, it wasn't a torrid time, was it? Because he didn't last long enough to be that bad. So I don't know what to expect from them, but I'm hoping it's not very much. I'm just going to ask you both about Sunderland, because it seemed like at one point we were just releasing information about a player we were interested in, and all of a sudden we were watching him sign for Sunderland. Now, It's a strange one because the only thing that we've seen of the 49ers is they don't operate in public like that. So it was a really strange one to me that was happening. But it feels to me like they've seen if they can adopt the Forest model. I don't know if you remember how turgid Forest were in the season that we went down and they stayed up. They came to Ellen Road. They were one of the worst sides I'd seen for a long time. They managed to get a result against us, by the way, but they were awful, and we were much better than them, and we still went down. They signed so many players. I don't know if you remember. Was it O'Brien? They couldn't even register him. Yeah, they could not register the players that they signed. They signed that many.
He went to Atlanta, didn't he?
I knew he'd gone to MLS.
Yeah, he went to Atlanta and played with, or Washington and played with Click.
Right. I remembered he'd gone to MLS, but so I don't think that from a perspective of Burnley that we'll be seeing anything out of them. I really don't. But Sunderland are one that they're going to have to try and somehow take all of that playing squad that they've brought in and make a team out of it, and that's not easy to do in the timescale that they're going to have to do it in. I don't think there's any doubt that they've bought some quality. I think the Fair was somebody that, when they were saying, "Oh, we've signed the best player that the Championship will have ever seen," well, we're all going, "Hang on, we saw Pablo."
Yeah. I was like, when did they sign Pablo Hernandez?
Yeah. So, I think Sunderland have really gambled, and either it'll play off, and if it plays off, great. But I genuinely think that there's a risk that it'll all fall apart and it'll be out of cards and it'll come tumbling down. And for me, it's a big gamble. But I think the one thing you can say is they've had a crack at it.
Yeah,
Had to go.
That's true.
like
But-
it's good when you get another team to do your scouting for you, really, isn't it? Like, so it makes the job a whole lot easier for them. You know what I mean?
I'm really glad we weren't in for Xhaka because I wouldn't have fancied
It all
that at
feels
all.
a bit
I
like
didn't think
Middlesbrough
they were any
throwing
good before.
money
we
at.
weren't in for Xhaka, and that's their own signing, and that could be the most crock of shit signing on the planet. But the other ones that we scouted, that they were like, "Oh, we'll just pay way over the odds for them. We'll lose them for up to 6 weeks just because they're at AFCON." It's fine.
Yeah,
Andrew
it's
Michael
mental,
just made that point. It's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels a bit like when Middlesbrough threw a load of money at signing a load of crazy names and just threw them in and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But
Oh, sorry, Danny. Danny's just pointed out what a
some
great
of the-
signing Xhaka is.
some of the players have signed do
Sorry,
look
Danny.
good, and we obviously did want a
Yeah.
couple of those players. But I don't understand the strategy of buying so many young potential loaded players rather than experienced players, and also a handful of players that you're going to lose all of them in 6 weeks. And presumably that's going to be a large chunk of the mainstays in your first team if the signings have come off.
Yeah.
I expect so. Yeah.
That's such a vital part of the season. Look at the
Oh,
way
it's massive.
like fixtures after Christmas can either make or break you, as we've seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
And it's just crazy strategy to me. I don't get it. Unless they're thinking, if we're in real trouble, we'll throw a load more at it in January and try and get some more players. I don't know.
But that then totally unbalances any kind of squad cohesion that they may have, because these guys are only gone for 5-6 weeks or whatever, and some of
I
them
know.
not even that if they don't make it out of the group stage. But it's like the one thing I've noticed about them is when you look through their team, there isn't a lot of Premier League experience. Now I know we don't have an awful lot, but we do have some. You know, we've got Ampadu played in the top flight. We've got Joe Rodon played in the top flight. Carl Darlow, even though he might be a
Longstaff.
sub goalkeeper,
Dan
Longstaff, James. You know, we're trying to amalgamate players who've never played in the Premier League around players who've got some more experience in the squad than Sunderland have. And I think that's probably what's going to hurt them more. If you're relying on Xhaka, who can't keep his head cool for 5 minutes without kicking the armband that he's been honoured with wearing at some point at Arsenal, then if you're relying on him to be the cool, calm and collected Premier League experienced player, well, you're kind of kicking yourself in the balls, really, like, you know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
I don't like that you left out Melia. He's got a lot of Premier League experience. No comment on that. Let's just move past that.
Oh, and sorry, Andrew does say there, yes, and Bogle played a bit.
Yeah.
So,
but Bryn made a good point as well. Fulham did it, signed 10 to 12 and went straight back down on Djokanovic. Absolutely right. It is a gamble. It worked for Forest against all odds, really, but it's not worked for others. So that is one to watch. Just it not specifically Leeds related, but I'd just like to point out that Alexander Isak is a prick. So we don't have to get into that. We can just leave that. But so we have touched upon Everton. This room that I'm sat in is exponentially increasing in temperature, and I'm looking forward to getting done. But we just want to touch upon Everton because we won't have a main pod until afterwards. Yeah. Well, I told you needed 2 drinks.
I know.
Amateur over there.
Just want to touch on Everton and just rather than going into the squad, because actually we don't know who we're going to have, we don't know who's going to play, we don't know who's fit, we don't know who's training well. So I think we're probably going to see Stash. We're probably going to see Nemecha play. We're probably going to see Pirot. We're probably going to see Nonto. You can pick most of it, but instead of that, I'm just going to ask you your confidence levels going into this match at the start of the season, and positive Jay, to set us up for success on this part of the podcast. I'm going to come to you first. Just give me your confidence levels based on what we've talked about, the players that we've signed, the levels that they might get to. What's your confidence level out of 10 going into this match?
6.
Okay.
Told you shouldn't have gone to him first.
If we get a couple of more signings, that'll go up.
Well, if we get a couple more signings, they're not going to play. They're not going to start at least, are they?
Yeah.
Well, there'll be an option.
Okay. Yeah. Karl.
I'm going positively 8. Like I said, it's one of those where we look like, without looking or being Stoke, we look like Stoke 2.0, where we're just big bastard FC. But we seem to have big bastards that can actually play football rather than just bullying fuckers everywhere. And I think if Ark gets the selection right in the center of the park, we know who's going to play out wide. It's either going to be Nanto Ramzani, Nanto James, and potentially, I'd imagine it's going to be Piru starting up front.
Oh, yeah, well.
If we can nullify the center of the park, I think we can get a good result at home in the first game.
Fairs. I hesitate to say it, but I am more Jay on this than I am Karl, and that's purely because I think the 49ers had set us up for a good window and have fallen short on carrying that through. We started off well, we signed some good players, and it followed that path that we'd seen before of you don't hear anything, right, we've signed this player. Oh, cool, nice. And it seemed like the players that, that the Moonies, Karl, how do you pronounce that name that starts with P? There's an X in the middle of it.
Peugeot.
I just wanted to see. Thank you.
Paxo,
but
Paxo.
Paxo. I don't think it's right to say that the transfer window's entirely come off the rails, but we seem to have lost a lot of that head of steam that we'd built up at the start. So, Smarty says we have the Bates Crusader at number 9. Will be sound. We'll get more players in. I think we're all expecting Pirro to have a good season. I think if you look at his scoring record in the Championship, this is now his opportunity to go, and I can do it again. I can go that next level, and I think so. I expect he'll come into this season thinking this is my chance to shine.
It might be really all he gets.
Yeah, and I really hope he goes, you know what, I'm going to show it now. I'm going to make that starting spot up front mine, and I'm going to grab it with both hands, because it needs somebody really to take charge and to go, this is mine, and nobody's taking it off me. So yeah, I think that'd be a big deal, getting that, and starting the season well is important. I think it's important to play well, but you were right before about being in a position where every point counts. The second the season starts, it's on, regardless of where the transfer window is. The second the season starts, it started. You need every point you can. So I think the fact that we've got Nemecha that's a mobile forward, that's able to come on, that's able to occupy defence. I could see an argument for him starting and Pirro coming on later on. I don't think we will. I could see an argument for starting them together, but again, I don't think we will, because you sacrifice so much. Because I think that we'll see that 3 in central midfield with, as you said, maybe with Tanaka sat in front of 2. And I suspect you're right with what you said in terms of the personnel, Karl, that more often than not we're going to see Stash and Ampadu in there.
We're definitely have 3 in there.
I'm somewhere around the 7.
Defense, aren't they? Dropping some back at defence when one of the fullbacks goes up,
and we absolutely need that.
A fullback to be out of position a lot of the time. Clearly,
Oh no, you're right, Jay. Yeah, absolutely. And just one thing, Gilly. Sorry. Did anyone, when the lads came back from preseason, expect Pirro to be the quickest on the bleep test? The guy, there's a couple of comments there. He looks in great shape as well. He doesn't look like the immobile kind of centre forward that we've been used to for the last 2 seasons. He looks lean, he looks in good shape, and I think that's going to stand for him when it comes to playing in the Premier League. I think he understands what needs to be done and what effort he needs to put in. I think, like you mentioned, Gilly, his goal record is absolutely fantastic. 2 seasons with Swansea, over 20 goals each season. 2 seasons with us, 19 and 17 goals respectively. There's absolutely nothing to say that he can't hit the ground running in the Premier League. For me, anyway.
Yeah. So I think that's fair to say, and I think there's an element of we are fans of football. It's easy to get carried away, but I think that there is scope there for somebody to go and get that. And do you know what? If the Pirot that played against Norwich in the playoff semi-final at Elland Road turns up week in, week out in the Premier League, he'll have a fantastic season. Yeah. I think that the difference is doing that on a more regular basis, because we've seen the finishing capability he's got. He needs to be more involved in the games, and I think that we're going to be coming up against sides, and we're not going to have all the ball like we did in the Championship. And Farke's got to find a way to manage that. Bites has just arrived, so it is about time when we said bye.
Yes.
The way that goes. And I'm afraid we really are wrapping it up.
Man. It's close. I love the slapstick there. That's great.
But yeah, I think if he can raise the average level of we've seen his finishing. We know that he's got a good finish, and if he can raise the average level of his performance and his output, then there's a potential for him to have a really big season. So, just on that, actually, I'm just going to come to each of you and just ask who you think's going to be standout player for Leeds this season. And again, I am putting you on the spot. Karl, I'm going to come to you first because I've bullied Jay somewhat in asking these left field questions tonight. So I'm going to give Jay a little bit of thinking time this time. Come to you first.
Tanaka.
Okay. Thank you.
I think
we're not giving him much thinking. Oh, you are going to talk about it. Thank you. Go on.
I think he's going to go as far as to get in the Premier League team of the season this year.
Big call.
Big call. I know. And I could have said Stack, like quite a few in the comments, but under the radar, we've kind of looked at Stack over the last couple of games and gone, this guy's mustard. But I think Tanaka is going to be the one who goes under the radar and has an absolute belter of a season.
Okay. Fair. Jay? Did he steal your answer while I'm giving you thinking time?
He was listening to what I was saying and going,
no,
idiot.
It kind of made me question my answer rather than steal it. I'm going to go for Stack right now just because he looked so good in the last game. Recency bias, I suppose. And he's somebody that we've talked a lot about in pre-season, like amongst ourselves in the chats and stuff about how good he looks. His stats have been good and he seems to have a lot of quality and all the sort of tools to be what we need in the middle and be a really good Premier League midfielder. So, yeah, I'm going to go for him. Somebody else could come in who's going to change that, but as it stands now, I'll go for him.
Fair. Okay. I'm going to break the mold and I'm not going to go for a midfielder and I'm not even going to go for a forward.
For Lucas Perry.
I'm going to go for Rodon. I think he's going to be such an important player for us this season because whoever he's playing alongside aren't going to be quick. And Rodon is quick, so he's going to have to be the cover on that. I were a centre half. I love watching defenders play football, and I love watching them do it well. I think that there's a potential for him to have a really big season for us this season, and go back and show, Spurs passed over, let him go to the Championship. He made it clear that he wasn't going to go anywhere. He loves Leeds, and I really hope he has the good season that we all hope he does. So you're right. You're right. There might be a big player that signs. Nemecha might get an hat-trick 3 games in, and then just never look back and get 40 goals. And, there's all sorts that could go off. But looking at what we've got now, and the fact that we are going to be up against sides that are going to dominate possession, we're going to have to do a lot of defending. I just hope that Rodon has a really good season because I think he's got it in him.
I'm very happy for Rodon because he really wanted to stay at Premier League level and play Premier League football, but he gambled on Leeds. He bet on us, and now he's there with us. So it makes me happy, makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, fair.
Just before we move on and potentially finish up, Ian, what a way to bring down the podcast, dude.
I'd forgotten about that.
First one back. And
I'd not forgotten. I'd intentionally avoided it all night, and now you've highlighted
it. Can we just check on VAR for Ian? Because that's not cool, man.
We'll get to talk about that a lot in coming podcasts.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
let's not worry
So-
about it today.
So we're not
We
looking
will.
forward to it. Is basically the general consensus, Ian.
Yes, true. But Joe Bedford is looking forward to Willie, and I'm going to leave it there.
Hold on,
Love you.
hold on. What about the fans' prediction, Mike?
No, the news will be on our socials. Is that people can just sign up for it?
Oh, right.
All you'll need to do is put in your email and your Twitter name, and people will just be able to sign up, and it'll automate it all. It'll highlight us and our podcast friends. Yeah, anybody will be able to sign up for it, so they can do it direct.
Jesus Christ, we're really organised this season. I wasn't expecting that.
At least now, though, we can have a chat, and if we want to, we can give scores in here. But when they're not binding, so you put them in his little spreadsheet. So Smarty can say one thing, then put something else, as he will, to try and throw people when he's trying to be tactical.
Look, Whitesnake has just arrived, and he's noticed that Jay has got no iron, but he does have toilet paper,
guitars,
toilet paper,
roll.
and guitars.
Rock and toilet roll.
On that note, Gilly, just end it.
Just hang on, Steve. Steve, you don't have to give a Twitter name. You can just go direct to the link. So we will share it on here, and we'll put it out wherever we can. But you don't need to be on social media in order to be able to take part. You just need an email address.
See, we're accommodating for everyone.
There you go.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay. There is one issue that we do have. So you say we're prepared this season, and you said we. I like the we. But yes, we are prepared this season. We had a new intro. It's work in progress, but we had a new intro. We've got a new approach for our predictions league. What we don't have yet is a new outro. And actually, that's not even last season's. It is maybe 4 seasons ago. It might even be the original, yeah. So apologies for that. Actually, Jay needs to apologise because he's the one that put it together. And do you know what? It's the Bamford effect. It's just not been replaced, but it's the video's fault for not being replaced.
So that sounds like some kind of low-key challenge.
Yeah, definitely set to you there now, Jay. That's for sure.
Right. On that note,
get to do.
On that note, we will bid you adieu, and I will say thank you very much to Karl and Jay for joining me tonight. Hope you enjoyed the return. Oh, Joe,
just keep going. Still get distracted with it.
I mean, Joe's asking us, Sergeant, what we're saying, lads. What is the point in buying an Aronson clone when Aronson's not good enough?
It's just a ginger Aronson with ginger hair, isn't it?
We'll leave it there. Thanks for that, Joe. Thanks very much, lads. Thanks for everybody getting involved in the comments. Go like and subscribe and hit that bell and follow that whatever else and do all of that
down
shit.
Here somewhere.
Go on the social media and whinge about us and say that we're shite and we don't know what we're talking about, because whatever you say to us helps all of the algorithms and all of that sort of stuff. Go rate us and do all of that shit, and let's have a good season. Thanks very much, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.